Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good, good. How's camping?
It was fun.
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
good. So Seth isn't able to come?
He said he had to, that someone called in sick at his work and he had to stay late and close.
Okay, that's a bummer.
Yeah. My brain's already on vacation, like on summer already. So I have done like zero reading.
Yeah, yeah. I did a little bit. I only got like a couple problems into the quiz,
Yeah.
so that's about as far as I got. But it does so far. It doesn't seem too complicated, but who knows?
Yeah.
And yeah, today's been nuts. Jeez, this whole week has been nuts. I'm kind of on a deadline with the job I'm doing at work, so I've been working a lot more than usual. So,
What do you do for work?
um, I do like handyman work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a little bit of everything, but
Do you work for like a handyman company? Do you work for like a property management company or what?
it's my own thing. So I work
Oh,
for myself.
oh,
Yep.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I like being able to run my own schedule. So yeah, it's nice, and I get to just I don't know. I guess do different things every day, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
But
that's really neat.
yeah. I'm trying to get in. I had it pulled up a second ago. Okay, here it is. Um,
Okay. So you just want to jump in? You ready?
sure, let's do
Okay.
it.
Number one, a consumer holds money to meet spending needs. This would be an example of one, use of money as a measure of value, use of money as legal tender, transactions, demand for money, or asset demand for money.
And that one was transactions demand for money, just like right in
Correct.
the first section. So,
Yeah, that's what I have too.
okay, sweet.
Hey, number two. Oh, clicked one too many times. A decrease in the interest rate will cause a one, increase in the transaction demand for money, two, decrease in the transaction demand for money, three, decrease in the amount of money held as an asset, or three or four, increase in the amount of money held as an asset.
I got number one for that.
Where'd you see that at? I put number four, but I was unsure.
It's right under that. So, so the third or fourth paragraph under demand for money. I guess it's the last paragraph right above the graphs. Um, there's a part in brackets that says, in reality, higher interest rates are associated with slightly lower volumes of money demanded for transactions. And so if it's higher interest rates are associated with slightly lower, then if we have lower interest rates, there should be a higher demand for transactions using money.
Hmm.
I don't know. Well, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. So, because it wouldn't be necessarily held as assets, would it?
Well, I put in the last paragraph under asset demand, DA. It says the amount of money demanded as an asset. Oh, held. I don't know. The amount of money demanded as an asset, therefore, varies inversely with the rate of interest, which is the opportunity cost of holding money as an asset. When the interest rate rises, being liquid and avoiding capital losses become more costly. The public reacts by reducing its holding as money as an asset. So if when it reduces its holdings of money as an asset, then like it's inverse. So when That's why I put it, is that paragraph.
That makes sense because that's kind of tricky because where I was getting my answer does make it look like it's number one, but it's not really. It's not increasing in the transactions demanded for money. It's increasing in the amount of money needed for transactions. So it sounds the same, but I guess it's really not because what you're saying actually makes more sense. So
Yeah, that's why I picked that one. But
okay, I'm
Yeah.
good with
okay. Like I said, mostly I've been skimming. So
yeah.
hopefully I'm getting enough information to get to understand. But anyways, number 3. There is an asset demand for money primarily because of which function of money? 1, legal tender. 2, store of value. 3, measure of value. 4, medium of exchange. I had number 2 on that one.
That in the second paragraph, I think.
Yeah, right under asset demand DA.
Yeah.
The second reason for holding that money derives from the function as a store of value.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. That works.
Number 4. An increase in nominal GDP will 1, increase the transactions demand and total demand for money. 2, decrease the transaction demand and total demand for money. 3, increase the transactions demand for money, but decrease the total demand for money. Or 4, decrease the demand for money, but increase the total demand for money.
I mean, it will increase the transactions demand and the total demand for money, right?
That's what I have too.
That's what it looks like in under the demand for money. The level of nominal GDP is the main determinant of the amount of money demanded for the transactions. The larger the total money value of all goods and services exchanged in the economy, the larger the amount of money needed to negotiate those transactions. So, yeah.
I was just reading a little bit more to make sure that I understand it. Because it's saying the transactions demand and total demand for money. So I'm just making sure that that makes sense to me, that it would increase both. So
Yeah.
oh, okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. I found under. Okay. Yeah. You're probably reading right from here, so I can go. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. Okay. Number 5. Which line in the graph above would best illustrate the asset demand for money curve?
I think that's line number 1. If you look at the graphs.
Yeah, that's what I have to do.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, number 6. When the interest rate falls, the 1, asset demand for money increases. 2, transaction demand for money increases. 3, total amount of money demanded increases. Or 4, total amount of money demanded increases.
I don't know how this is different from the other question that was like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, isn't that just asset demanded for money decreases? Oh, when the interest rate falls. No, that would be wrong. Because it's inversely. Which one do you think it is? Sorry.
I'm not sure. Because I'm It's kind of tricky because I don't know how it's really different from the last one, but it must be.
Well, let's talk about interest instead of GDP this time.
I mean, like a few questions ago to ask kind of the same thing.
Yeah, a few questions. So that's what I thought too. But I thought like it talks about asset demand for money being inversely related to interest. But that's not an inverse correlation. Like if they both decrease, then it's not. And that's not inversely. So is it total amount of money demanded increases? Because if you look at the total demand for money, it's also an inverse relationship to.
I think you're right, and that makes a lot more sense too. I mean, if the interest rate falls, people are going to be spending a lot more money.
Yeah.
They're going to need more money. So
If the interest rate falls, the total demand for money increases, right? Number 3.
yes.
Okay. Number 7, in the cause-effect chain linking changes in the bank's excess reserves and the resulting changes in output and employment in the economy. 1, a decrease in aggregate demand will increase output. 2, an increase in the money supply will decrease the rate of interest. 3, reserves will increase the money supply. 4, a decrease in the rate of interest will decrease aggregate demand.
That one, I have no idea.
Yeah, I haven't found it either.
I don't even understand exactly what it's saying, so I'm trying to find something in the chapter that looks like it's talking about that, but I can't find anything. I haven't seen anything that talks about the cause-effect chain.
Yeah. Let me not say that specifically. It might be just sneaking it in there somewhere. I feel like the questions are kind of in order, but not really in order, like in order in chunks.
Yeah.
Oh, I found 16.5. The first section is called cause-effect chain.
In 16.5?
Yeah, 16.5.
That's way in there then. Okay. What is... So,
I haven't read it all. I just found the little heading that says cause-effect chain.
okay. I think it's number 3, but I'm not positive.
A decrease in excess reserves will increase the money supply.
Because if it's not in a then it created new money because it must be going out to the, I guess, the people in the economy, so that would increase the money supply.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean, that makes sense. The decrease more in interest rates is aggregate amount. Increasing the supply will decrease the rate of interest.
The first two just don't make sense to me at all, like logically, but
Hmm.
I've definitely been wrong before, so.
I just want to find something that makes me feel better.
Does it not say anything in that little section? Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. Do we want to stay 3 and come back to it, or
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, because it might
start?
pop up later on.
Yeah. Okay. Number 8. The purpose of an expansionary monetary policy is to 1, increase the GDP gap. 2, the inflation rate. 3, real GDP, or 4, interest rates. And this one I thought I found in 16.4 under expansionary monetary policy. If you look at the definition of expansionary monetary policy, it says Federal Reserve System actions to increase the money supply, lower interest rates, and expand real GDP. So I put increase real GDP.
Okay. All right. That works. What is it? Let's see.
Okay, number 9. What is one of the advantages of monetary policy over fiscal policy? Mm. Okay, at 16.6, it says monetary policy has become the dominant component of U.S. national stabilization policy. It has 2 key advantages over fiscal policy. 1, speed and flexibility. 2, isolation from political pressures. So, number 2, what do you think?
The quickness and with which it can be used.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
it has 2 advantages, speed, and then isolation from political pressure. So that's the only one that matches on our list there.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. That sounds good. Fed cuts.
10. A newspaper headline reads Fed cuts federal funds rate for 5th time this year. This headline indicates the Federal Reserve is most likely trying to 1, reduce inflation, 2, raise interest rates, 3, ease monetary policy, or 4, tighten monetary policy.
I think that's in 16.4. Man, this does not make sense.
Okay, so in 16.4 under expansionary monetary policy, it says, like, a couple lines after expansionary monetary policy, it says the Fed's immediate step will be to announce a lower target for the federal funds rate. To achieve that lower rate, the Fed will use open market to buy bonds from the banks and the public. Anyways, the thing, when it lowers them, it lowers the reserve requirements. It says the greater reserves. Oh wait, the greater reserves? Oh, the rates get lower, so the banks buy more. That says the greater reserves in the banking system produces two critical results. The supply of federal funds increases, lowering the federal funds rate, and a multiple expansion of the nation's money supply occurs. So I think it's in here somewhere that's talking about it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've been reading all that stuff too, but the question is kind of, I mean, what are they trying to do? Because, I mean, it obviously does a lot of different things if they mess with that, but
I think what they're looking for is the ease monetary policy. That's what I think they're looking for, because next to, like in parentheses, next to expansionary monetary policy, it says or easy money policy, and then down in the next section it says tight money policy. It's so I think that's what they're trying to say.
So, and the expansionary monetary policy is when they cut the funds rate?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. Yeah, I was a little confused on which was which, but
Yeah, because like the restrictive one, it says that they increase the interest rates that the banks pay to each other, which reduces borrowing and spending. And the other one says that they decrease the interest rates to bolster borrowing and spending. So I think when they cut it, like when they cut federal funds rate for the 5th time this year, they're saying that they're trying to ease monetary policy. I really hope that's right, and I'm sorry if it's not.
no, that sounds good to me.
Okay. The number 11. If my computer will change. When the Fed wants to lower the federal funds rate, it increases the discount rate. 2, increases the reserves ratio. 3, buys bonds from banks and the public. Or 4, sells bonds to the banks and the public. I think that's in that same section.
Mm-hmm. So it increases the reserve ratio, right? Or
Where I was just trying to see.
oh, or it buys bonds and
By buying and selling government bonds, the Fed can increase or decrease the reserves in the banking system. These changes in total reserves in turn affect the amount of excess reserves that are available for supply to the federal funds market by whichever banks end up with them on a given day. So I'm just trying to see which direction it goes.
yeah.
So if you want to lower the federal funds rate, it does what? I think
So
if either buys bonds or sells them, they're buying.
Yeah, it says the feds will use. Okay, the Fed's immediate step will be to announce. This is if they're okay. Wait. So this policy will lower the interest rate to bolster borrowing and spending, which will increase aggregate demand and expand real output. The Fed's immediate step will be to announce a lower target for the federal funds rate, say 3.5 instead of 4. To achieve that lower rate, the Feds will use open market operations to buy bonds from banks and the public.
Okay, I like that. Thank you.
I think that's right.
Okay, it sounds right to me. Okay. Number 12. If the federal funds rate 1 increases, the prime interest rate will decrease. 2 decreases, the prime interest rate will increase. 3 increases, the prime interest rate will increase. 4 decreases, the prime interest rate will not change.
So I think is it number 3 increases, the prime interest rate will increase.
I'm not sure.
Because if it decreases, then that will lower the interest rate. So I'm just thinking if by lowering it, it lowers, then if it increases, it should increase as well. But I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does say that. It says that. Well, it says, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay. 13. Answer the questions based on the information given in the table below that shows the items and figures taken from a consolidated balance sheet of the 12 federal banks, reserve banks. All figures are in billions of dollars. In the balance sheet above for the Federal Reserve, the assets would be items 5 and 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, or 4 and 6. And I think this talked about previously.
Is it 4 and 6? I don't know.
Yep, 4 and 6.
Okay.
Loans and securities. And I found that under assets under 16.2.
Awesome.
The main tools. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say anything. Go ahead.
Sorry, now I'm filling out my little thing and catching up. I haven't been clicking on the buttons right.
Oh.
The main tools the Fed can use to alter the reserves of commercial banks are the required reserves ratio and the following, except exchange rate, discount rate, interest on reserves, and open market operations. I think this is back where we were before.
So open market operations.
Yeah, it's under 16.3 open market operations. The reserve ratio, the discount rate, and interest on reserves are the ones that it counts. So not exchange rate, right?
Okay, yeah. I guess, yeah, they can't control the exchange rate, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, 13. The lending ability of commercial banks increases when the 1, reserve ratio is raised, 2, Treasury collects tax revenues, 3, Fed's sell securities in the open market, or 4, Fed buy securities in the open market. Isn't that back to the same thing we were just talking about?
Think so. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Okay.
I think so. Well, it's kind of the same thing. So they announce a higher target for the federal funds rate. So, wait a second. So it goes from 3.5 to 4, and they will use open market operations to buy bonds from the banks and the public. So that is when it's going lower, they buy bonds. So, and then later on, when it increases is with the restrictive monetary. So when it, let's see, so when it increases, they will sell bonds.
Increases, they sell bonds. They sell securities.
Yeah, the oh man, I don't even know if I'm reading the question right. Oh my gosh. Because their lending ability is definitely going to go up whenever the reserve rate is lowered. So that's not an option on the answers, but when it's lowered, they are buying securities in the open market. But I'm wondering if there's a better place to explain it than just that.
Are you looking under effects of the in 16.5 effects of the expansionary policy, or is that where you're looking?
No, I'm still in 16.4, but I probably should be in 16.5.
16.5 talks more about that, I think. There's like a little table that says when there's underemployment and recession, reserve buys bonds, lowers reserves ratio, lowers discount rate, or reduces the interest rate on reserves. So I'm kind of thinking it's in this section. So you have to find it.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's the other way. I think it's the other way around. Because under effects of restrictive monetary policy, like the 4th paragraph down, it says the Federal Reserve Board will direct the Fed to undertake some combination of the following actions: 1, sell government securities; 2, increase the legal reserve ratio; 3, increase the discount rate; and 4, increase the interest rate that it pays on reserves. Banks will then discover that the reserves are below those required, that the federal fund rate has increased, So they will need to reduce their checkable deposits by refraining from issuing new loans as old loans are paid back. This will shrink the money supply and increase the interest rate. That one was saying when they
When they
sell securities, it shrinks the amount that commercial banks lend.
Yeah, so it's got to be when they're buying securities, right?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I probably was explaining it completely retarded, but that's what I was trying to say.
Okay, sorry.
Oh no, I know it's my fault because I can barely like even hold a thought right now.
I understand. It's late.
I've been doing math homework and ever since I got home, so and I'm not a math person at all, so I'm like totally fried right now.
Like basic stuff. Every time I run into an algebra anything, I'm finding my husband. I'm like, how do I do basic algebra? Teach me 7th grade math again. So,
I'm the exact same way. Like I would seriously be failing this class for sure if my wife wasn't really good at math. She teaches me every lesson. She like reads the lesson and then teaches me, and then I do the homework.
that's good. Yep, my husband's an engineer, and he's had years and years of math, and he he'll sit down and they'll like go through like the really complicated way, and then he's like, okay, this is what I did. He'll explain it to me. I'm like, I still don't get it. I'm sorry. Dumb it down a little bit more for me. So, anyway, 16. The fundamental objective of monetary policy is to assist the economy in achieving 1, a rapid pace of economic growth. 2, a money supply which is based on the gold standard. 3, a full employment, non-inflationary level of total output. Or 4, a balanced budget consistent with full employment. This sounds like something at the very beginning, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, at the very, very beginning of the introduction, it says, the goal of monetary policy is to achieve and maintain price stability, full employment, and economic growth.
So,
I don't know.
Say that one more time.
So at the very beginning, like in the introduction, it says the goal of monetary policy is to achieve and maintain price level stability, full employment, and economic growth. So that could be 2 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe just the first one. Non-inflationary level of total output.
That's what I'm leaning towards more.
Number 1.
Yeah, the third one.
Oh, you're leaning towards the third one, a full employment, non-inflationary level.
Are you saying a rapid pace of economic growth?
I am saying it could be either one of them, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either.
More somewhere else.
Oh my gosh, my baby is like screaming right now.
Yeah, I think you're correct. Is it a girl or?
Yeah, it's a little girl. You can hear that?
A little while ago, I could hear a baby crying.
I'm sorry.
No, it's just very faintly in the background, and I felt bad.
Yeah. She's so pissed.
What did you do? Must be your fault.
Yeah, It always feels like it. I hate it. Feels so bad every time she frowns.
Oh. Sound like a cute dad. Um, I'm just trying to find something else that like validates one of those two.
Yeah.
Uh, should we kind of keep our eyes open and come back to that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do you want to just, or we can just say, number 3 makes sense to me. So should we just say 3, and then if we see something else, we'll adjust?
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay. And also, we're so close to being done.
Yeah.
17. The Federal Reserve alters the amount of the nation's money supply by 1. Reducing the liabilities of the banking system. 2. Controlling the assets of the nation's largest banks. 3. Minting coins and printing currency that is distributed to banks. Or 4. Manipulating the size of excess reserves held by commercial banks.
Should be number 4, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
I guess that's what this whole last section's been about, so.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Okay.
Okay. Number 18. If the Fed sells government securities to the general public in the open market, 1. The Fed gives securities to the public pays for the securities by writing checks that, when clear, increase commercial banks' reserves at the Fed. 2. The Fed gives securities to the public pays for the securities by writing checks that, when clear, decrease commercial bank reserves at the Fed. 3. The public gives the securities to the Fed in exchange for a Fed check, which, when deposited at commercial banks, will increase the reserves of the Fed. Or 4. The public gives the securities to the Fed in exchange for a Fed check, which, when deposited at commercial banks, will decrease their reserves at the Fed. I have no idea.
Yeah. Fed sells commercial to the general public open market. think it's the second one. The Fed gives the securities to the public pays for the securities by writing checks that, when cleared, will decrease commercial bank reserves at the Fed. So, I mean, I'm saying that because, like, in the restrictive monetary policy, it says when they're raising the way that they raise the rate, they do that by selling the bonds to the banks and the public, and the sales of those bonds will absorb reserves in the banking system. So
it talks, I think I found where it talks more about it as well. That sounds right to me, but under 16.3, there's these little diagrams about what happens in different situations. And one of them is Fed sells bonds to commercial banks. Let's see here. Answer one for the general public. Is my question. And it says, as you may suspect, when the Federal Reserve Bank sell government bonds, commercial banks' reserves are reduced. Let's see why. To commercial banks, when the Federal Reserve Bank sells securities in the open market to commercial banks, the Federal Reserve banks give up securities that the commercial banks acquire. The commercial banks pay for those securities by drawing checks against their deposits, that is, against their reserves. The Federal Reserve banks, the Fed collects on those checks by reducing the commercial banks' reserves accordingly. So number 2 makes sense to me.
okay.
So when the public, when they write checks, that when they clear, it decreases their reserves at the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I read in the book there. So number 19. I didn't fill it in. Number 19. The Fed can induce banks to increase their reserve holdings by 1, increasing the discount rate, 2, reducing the required reserve ratio, 3, increasing the interest on reserves, or 4, selling securities in the open market.
I think it's increasing the interest on the reserves, but I'm not sure. Because they're not forcing, but they're inducing the banks to increase their reserve holdings. So if they're increasing the rates, the interest on their reserves, then that will make them more likely to keep reserves because it will be a secure way of them generating money. Whereas if they sell securities, that's bad for the banks because they lose their reserves. And if they're reducing the required reserve ratio, obviously that's going to make the banks not want to have a higher reserve, so that wouldn't work. And if they increase the discount rate, that might be the right answer as well. I'm not sure.
So increase the discount rate or increase the interest on reserves is what you mean?
Yeah. I don't even know what the discount rate is, so. Do you know what that is?
No, I read like the first section, and that's all I've read. But we can read about. Let's see here. That's too far. The discount rate. Okay, the discount rate. One of the functions of the central bank is to be a lender of last resort. Occasionally, commercial banks have unexpected and immediate needs for additional funds. In such cases, each Federal Reserve Bank will make short-term loans to commercial banks. When a commercial bank borrows, it gives the Federal Reserve Bank a promissory note drawn against itself and secured by acceptable collateral, typically U.S. government securities. Just as commercial banks charge interest on the loans they make to their clients, so too Federal Reserve banks charge interest on loans they grant to commercial banks. The interest rate they charge is called the discount rate. So I would say not the discount rate.
Yeah. That's got to be number 3.
So interest on reserves, it says, in 2008, federal law was changed so that the Federal Reserve could, for the first time, pay banks interest on reserves held at the Fed. Before that time, any reserves held on deposit at the Fed were paid 0 interest. The Fed's newfound ability to pay interest on reserves provided the Fed with a 4th policy tool by which it can implement monetary policy and either increase or decrease the amount of money stimulus in the economy. As an example, suppose that the Fed wishes to reduce the amount of bank lending and consequently the amount of money circulating in the economy. It can do so by increasing the rate of interest that it pays on reserves held at the Fed. The higher that interest rate, the more an incentive banks will have to reduce their risk of commercial lending for car, mortgage, and business loans in order to instead increase the reserves that they hold at the Fed, thereby earn the risk-free interest rate that the Fed is paying on reserves. So, yeah.
That sounds right?
Yeah, that does sound right.
Awesome.
Okay, number 20. When the Fed lowered short-term interest rates to near 0, but the policy didn't seem to stimulate the economy enough, the Fed in 2009 also began conducting the policy of expansive buying of bonds known as 1, ZIRP, 2, QE, 3, Operation Twist, 4, zero lower bounds. And I think this is the last word.
I think it's the ZIRP, right? Wait. So it's got to be the QE, right? In the last word.
I still haven't found where it talks about QE in the last word. Where is it?
Let me see. The result, they felt that the Fed used the ZIRP and the QE was making it too easy for Congress to overspend.
Yeah, it says when ZIRP by itself didn't seem to be causing enough stimulus, the Fed also began engaging in trillions of dollars worth of bond purchases. Those purchases went by the name of quantitative easing, or QE.
Yeah.
That's the Fed with electronic money to pay for purchases. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Let's see. Were there any that we left empty? We didn't skip any, did we?
I don't think so. I think we said we'll do that, and if we run across something else, we'll come back to it. But okay, I'm gonna do it. 95%. We rock.
Holy crap! That's awesome. Oh man.
I feel like we're.
I was a little worried about this one.
Number 7. It was number 7. It was that chain linking one. So it's not number 3. It's number 2.
Oh, I didn't even fill that one in. I never even did that one.
Okay, so number 2 on that one.
Okay. Dang it. Yeah, I would have missed that anyway because I didn't. Jeez, let me make sure I filled all these in. Holy cow.
So we got all the rest of them right. How's that?
Awesome.
Okay. Great.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you so much. I guess we'll meet again next week then.
yeah, the last time next week.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Well, have a good week.
You too. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.